Shouldn't you be watching
The Marshal Commander.
Heavy? Yeah, let's take a look. What do you know? All clear! Just like the last 100 times I looked at it.
What's up, everyone? It's the Marshal Commander back with another Obi-Wan Kenobi recap and review. There will be spoilers in this video, as it is a breakdown. So, there's your warning. Make sure to turn this off if you haven't watched it yet. Let's hop right into it. And make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscription if you enjoy. To start this video off, I'd just like to let you all know I'm going to be doing this a little differently than my other breakdowns. I'm going to be doing it chronologically, starting with the flashbacks and then coming to where we are in present time. This episode opens up with a flashback to Anakin and Obi-Wan training together on Coruscant. Anakin is looking over the horizon. Now, before we continue, I'd just like to let you all know this scene does take place before Attack of the Clones, as you can see by Anakin having two hands. On top of this, we can see his lightsaber is blue, which I see a lot of people commenting on. Luckily, though, I can clear that up real quick. Firstly, his lightsaber was blue before it was destroyed on Geonosis. The lightsaber he uses during that battle is not his. Secondly, we know it's a training saber since, they're training as master and apprentice. Training sabers tend to be blue. This flashback continues throughout the episode as Vader remembers his old times with his master. We can see just how aggressive the young Padawan Anakin is, hints of darkness already showing in him as Obi-Wan reminds him that he's too aggressive and needs to be mindful, because a Jedi's goal is to defend life, not take it. But Anakin retaliates, telling him mercy doesn't defeat the enemies. The fight continues and we can see Anakin isn't only aggressive, but has an obsession with victory as he continues to land powerful hits on Obi-Wan. Can I just say, I love how they are using their correct forms. Anakin, aggressive, using Dem So, while Obi-Wan was using his defensive Sora Su. Not long after, Anakin disarms Obi-Wan, telling him it's over and that he's won. Obi-Wan is not proud, though. This need for victory is blinding his young Padawan. Before the battle was truly over, though, we can see Kenobi continued to fight, even while disarmed, until he eventually wins the battle by countering Anakin's aggressive fighting style with a duck and elbow to the back, followed by stealing his lightsaber with a force pull. This friendship is strong, though, and Obi-Wan reassures Anakin that he is a great warrior, but his need to prove himself is his undoing. Until you overcome it, a Padawan you will still be. He follows this up with a smile, patting his brother on the back. Personally, I just had to start with these flashbacks because they were my absolute favorite parts of the episode. We then get some really sick flashbacks to Order 66. I'd like to think Anakin would be a bit more saddened in his facial expressions, crying at what he has to do just to save the woman he loves. After all, we see him cry in Revenge of the Sith over this, and I hate seeing younglings die. The same younglings that looked up to him, idolized him, saw him as one of the greatest Jedi in galactic history. Anyways, through these Order 66 flashbacks, we see Reva is indeed the youngling from the beginning of Kenobi, and her fellow younglings were slaughtered during Operation Nightfall. Now, I don't want to brag, but we did call that Reva was the youngling, but so did many others, so make sure to go check out our Reva Theory video. Now, since we finished doing a quick run through all the flashbacks in the episode, let's talk about the stuff happening in present time. Firstly, Vader is informed where Kenobi is by Reva, and they set their way to Jabiim. Back on Jabiim, we see many of these refugees on the path waiting to leave. We also get to see my boy Haja again. Obi-Wan agrees to help Roken and the others in any way he can. It cuts back to Vader on his ship. He orders Reva to lock down the facility, then reminds her, breaking the refugees in the path are not his concern. Only Obi-Wan is. Once again, we get to see Kenobi's point of view. We get to see some lightsaber hilts and a robe. I'm trying to figure out who these hilts belong to, but it's been a difficult few hours trying to track down the owners. Though some of them look like a mix of different hilts from already established characters, I'll try to cover that in a future video once I have more information. Now, back to the episode. Lola, Leia's droid, sabotages the refugees and seals the blast doors. The Empire's attack begins to launch, and Kenobi motivates everyone, telling them they can't beat the Empire, but they can hold them off until they're able to escape. The path barricades, preparing while the Empire approaches, setting up weapons to get through the blast doors. The path attempts to ready their escape by sending Leia up into the vents to fix the doors that will aid their escape. Bail Organa contacts Kenobi and hopes he's safe, and Tala speaks of her past and how she wants to redeem herself. A few minutes after all of this, Kenobi does his iconic negotiating, learning more about the third sister. As discussed earlier, she is a youngling who was left for dead by Vader. Before long, Reva breaches the door and the stormtroopers and rebels begin fighting, many falling during the ongoing shootout. The Path members are pushed back, and as the battle heats up, our heroes were saved by one emotional sacrifice. A character who has become liked by many with their very little time. Ned B. Just kidding. I'm talking about Tala, even though we do love Ned B here. Pulling out a thermal detonator, she stayed close to her loyal droid. She was shot in the stomach and truly had no chance of surviving this battle. To save Obi-Wan, she shoots the controls to the door, forcing him to leave her behind. Then with one last breath, an explosion filled the room, clearing it for the time being, and giving the Path time to escape, at least until Vader arrives. Kenobi hands Haja his things, then turns himself over to the troops without a weapon, telling the others there's other ways to fight. That other way is convincing Reva to take on Vader, to stop him from doing the same thing to others that he did to her, to not let more families and children die, to end this, together. She is convinced, then sends stormtroopers to secure him. At this point, I do believe she's already working with him, she's ready, and she's on his side. Vader arrives on the planet, then goes to bring him in himself. He is impatient. He is ready to find Kenobi. Kenobi, having escaped the stormtroopers, runs through the base, attempting his escape. He meets up with Leia, hugging her tightly and informing her of Tala's sad demise before rushing her into the transport. Then in no time, we get one of the coolest scenes ever as Vader marches through the base. And in no time, he pulls down the transport ship that's trying to escape, tearing it open with ease, only to be revealed that it was just a decoy, and their real escape is on another ship. They take off, avoiding the wrath of the Dark Lord. As Vader stands there thinking on this failure, the third sister attempts to go through with Kenobi's plan, but it fails. Miserably. He saw this coming all along. Using his raw force power, he completely obliterates her in a fight, even stealing her lightsabers multiple times throughout the encounter and making it seem like it's the easiest thing he's ever done. He does not break a sweat in this. Flashbacks to Order 66 flash in and out as he forces her to her knees before impaling her with a lightsaber and letting her know he saw this coming all along, youngling. Moments later, the Grand Inquisitor walks out, revealing he's alive, ready to reclaim his spot, and letting her know that she is of no use to them anymore. Before this episode ends, Reva finds a transmitter and learns of Anakin's children, Luke and Leia. Kenobi can sense this through the Force and becomes distraught, though he cannot tell exactly why. We then pan to Tatooine and slowly zoom in on Luke sleeping tightly. Now, I'm predicting this will play a part in the next episode. We already know the next episode is going to be an hour and 33 minutes long. I'm thinking maybe Reva will try to kidnap Luke and use him as leverage on Vader, or something of this sort. And Kenobi won't like that. Neither will Vader. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. That is the full recap, breakdown, whatever you'd like to call it. Now it's time for a review. Alright, overall this was by far my favorite episode. So far I've loved every episode though, but none as much as this. This was the greatest one yet. The flashbacks to Anakin and Obi-Wan training, the scenes of Order 66, Vader pulling the transport shuttle out of the air with ease, and then of course Vader showing his true power and skill as he completely stomps Reva. It doesn't get better than this. Hayden and Ewan are doing great jobs at not only developing their beloved characters, but giving us nostalgia too. Moses as Reva has also been going up in my list fast. She's becoming a great character. I loved her as an Inquisitor, but ever since our Reva Theory video, I've wanted to see her be more than that. She's becoming more and more interesting with each episode. Seeing the clones in Coruscant was also a peak Star Wars moment. I cannot get enough of this series and hope they keep it coming. Now, that's my review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Then leave a like and subscription. May the Force be with you. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.